The official trailer for The Punisher One Last Kill debuted last week, and it was so explosive and action-packed. It also had several nods to the Netflix series, as well as hints to the storyline of the special. Hi, I'm Mikey Roberts, and in this video, I'll break down all the clues and references so you know what to expect when it releases next month. The Punisher One Last Kill releases on Disney Plus on May 12th, and is the third special presentation from Marvel Studios. It takes place at the same time as the second season of Daredevil Born Again, which is currently releasing. The plot involves Frank Castle searching for meaning to his life without needing revenge, until an unexpected conflict forces him back into the fight. The special is also expected to set up his appearance in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which releases on July 31st. As always, I highly recommend you watch the trailer if you haven't already, as I will be going into a lot of detail. There's a fair bit that we need to unpack, so let's get straight into it. The trailer opens with the shot of Frank with the beard. This tells us that the story takes place after the Season 1 finale of Daredevil Born Again, where he escaped from Fisk's prison in the post-credits scene, as he didn't have the beard then. We then get a shot of Brooklyn Bridge, before we see Frank seeing a hallucination of the army generals that he lost in battle in his apartment, while the voiceover of Curtis Hoyle tells Frank to talk to him. We then see Curtis, played by Jason R. Moore, and he asks Frank what's going on. Curtis is a former Army SARC who lost his leg in the line of duty and was a close friend to Frank. After his leg was lost, he started counselling other veterans who were struggling with PTSD. After learning that Frank had survived his family's massacre, he helped Frank process what had happened. However, we quickly learn that he's also a hallucination. Curtis was alive at the end of Netflix's Punisher series, so we can assume that he died at some point before the special. Hopefully we'll learn what happened to him. I think that his assumed death might be part of why Frank decides to take on the Punisher moniker again. We then see Frank leave flowers at the grave of his daughter, Lisa Barbara. She was his firstborn child and the older brother of Frank Jr. Tragically, she was only 12 when she died in the sting operation on Frank's family. Frank's wife and 2 children were murdered in Central Park when they were caught up in a brutal gunfight between rival gangs. The hit was plotted by CIA agent William Rawlings in order to cover up drug smuggling and torture operations by Zubair. Rawlings believed that Frank had leaked footage of Zubair's crimes, and he was aiming to kill him so that Zubair's crimes wouldn't be uncovered. Frank held Lisa in his arms as she died and saw the life draining out of her face. We then see a shot of Lisa in a flashback, before seeing another girl. We don't know who she is yet, but I think that she'll be very important to the plot. However, I don't think she's Curtis's daughter, and I'll explain why later in the video. Then we see a board of photos of people that Frank has taken out, before we see someone leaking petrol into Frank's apartment, before setting it alight. Then we see Frank on fire, so someone is definitely trying to kill him. Frank then screams before breaking through the door. These shots look incredible, and I can't wait to see this sequence in full. After a card that says "This May," we see Frank walking past a burning car and people being attacked, before we hear a girl's voice calling out "Daddy." We then see the little girl from earlier being kidnapped. This is why I don't think she's Curtis's daughter, since I think he's dead, as I explained earlier in the video. However, I think that she'll remind Frank of Lisa, and he'll try to save her to make up for not being able to save his daughter in the sting operation. We then see Frank running with a baseball bat, probably trying to catch the kidnapper. Then we see a series of shots of Frank in action, including fighting on a rooftop, throwing a man off a balcony, and breaking through a door to fight another criminal. We then see a shot of Judith Light. Now, Her role hasn't been officially announced yet, but most people think she's playing Isabella Carmela Magdalena Nucci, or Ma for short. Ma Nucci first appeared in The Punisher Volume 5, Number 4, which was released in 2000, and died less than a year later in Punisher Number 12. She's the matriarch of the Ganucci crime family. In the comics, Frank killed all 3 of her sons, which set her on a personal vendetta against him. She hired a series of assassins in an attempt to kill him, including the Russian and Deadpool. Eventually, Frank caught up with her and threw her into a cage of polar bears. She survived, but lost all her limbs. Frank then set Ma's mansion ablaze, leaving her to die alone. Now, I'm not sure if Marvel will use this exact storyline in the special, but I do think that she'll want revenge against Frank for another past confrontation. In fact, I think she might even be responsible for Curtis's death. Whatever happens, I can't wait to see how she plays into the story. We then see Frank shoot 2 guys in a diner before we see the young girl reunited with her parents with Frank watching on. The only criticism I have of this fantastic trailer is that this scene shouldn't have been included. By revealing that she's going to be okay, it takes away the tension and suspense that we would have otherwise felt. However, I'm still excited to see how Frank manages to rescue her. Then we finally see him in the Punisher outfit as he takes a knife out of his pocket. After the title card, we get one final shot of Frank shooting someone. What's interesting about this scene is that the sign behind him says Nucci's Restaurant. This supports the theory of Ma being Judith Light's character. This was a brilliant trailer. We didn't get many clues to the story, but there was still a lot of intense action, as well as several nods to the Netflix series, confirming that show to be canon to the MCU. A lot of people were worried that Disney might tone down the violence from the Netflix era, especially since he'll be in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which will be nowhere near as intense. But this trailer quickly dispelled all those fears. It promises to be an intense and exciting show, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my review of it next month. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now!